Ken Trahan, Lenny Vangilder for SportsNola.com. It's our first NBC weekend preview brought to you by First NBC Bank with locations throughout the greater New Orleans area. Happy New Year, one and all. Great to have you with us. And, of course, it's a busy sports weekend here, locally and extended locally, like toward Atlanta, which we'll get into. First and foremost, the Hornets at home Friday night, taking on the Toronto Raptors, a team that had won 5 straight but lost to San Antonio to end that streak. And as a result, maybe a chance for the Hornets to get on a little bit of a run, Lenny, coming off of a win on the road at Orlando. You've got Toronto, who's mediocre, and then you've got a game at Charlotte, who's lost like about 80 straight games on Saturday night.
Very possible that you can get on a run here and a good opportunity to do it. And, you know, the attention is going to start shifting towards basketball. If they could pick a great time to do it, this would be the time to do it. And who knows, maybe we even see Eric Gordon back in the lineup before the weekend is over.
Well, they'll have a chance to be at full strength for the first time this season when Gordon returns, and Jason Smith also returns. So you'll have a full lineup and finally get a chance to truly evaluate just who these guys are.
Exactly, and you know that's the thing. I mean, you can't. You know, this team is 6-22 right now, and you really can't gauge what is going on. You've yet to see Eric Gordon take the floor. We've only seen bits and pieces of Anthony Davis up until this point, maybe playing half of those 28 games. So, you know, when you get the whole thing out there to make a fair evaluation, and you'll have an idea where this team really stands as you go through the final 2/3 of the season.
And your other professional team, the New Orleans Saints, wrap up their season on Sunday. Carolina comes to town, noon start. Ricky Jackson at the Saints Hall of Fame, by the way, 10 a.m. to 11:15, signing autographs, Gate B, Plaza level. Maybe the Saints wish they had Ricky playing right now with the way their defense has played this year. Clearly their biggest problem as you go back and look at the season, they had some special teams issues, some interception issues, but their defense simply wasn't good enough.
Exactly, and that's, you know, the one thing that they will go back outside of all of the off-the-field issues. What happened on the field, as you go back and evaluate 2012, when it's all said and done, people are going to point towards the defense. And I think it's inevitable at this point, barring an outstanding performance on Sunday, that the Saints are going to break the NFL record for yards allowed in a season. Carolina needs to get to, I believe it's 282 yards for the Saints to hold that dubious distinction. And you know, it's really more than that, as we all know. This defense has played a lot better, but unfortunately, the struggles of the defense early on is part of what put the Saints in an 0-4 hole that they really never recovered from.
No, they certainly didn't. And, of course, second place in the division on the line in this game. 2 Pro Bowl Saints. It doesn't really matter. Pro Bowl needs to go away. That said, 5 Kansas City Chiefs? Really? 5 Chiefs? 2 wins. The math doesn't add up. We'll see how the Saints fare. Of course, you've got LSU playing in the Chick Fil A Bowl against Clemson. Very enticing matchup. No Brad Wing, but this is one of those games, strength against strength, offense against defense, and vice versa, that looks like it's going to be a very appealing matchup. I would suspect a game in the 20s on both sides.
Yeah, this is arguably, other than maybe the A&M Oklahoma game in the Cotton Bowl next week, this could be the best non-BCS game on the card in terms of the bowl schedule. And I'll be interested in watch, especially, as you mentioned, when Clemson has the ball. It's a top 10 offense going against a top 10 defense nationally at LSU. Strength against strength. That should be very intriguing. And a lot of times when these games match up like this, a lot of times it's the other matchup. It's LSU's offense against Clemson's defense that may end up deciding this football game.
Well, if LSU shows up, I like their chances to win the game, and I think they're motivated based upon the way they ended last season to perform well this time around. That's on Monday night, New Year's Eve, and of course, January 2nd, the Allstate Sugar Bowl, Louisville and Florida. They're both in town, both getting ready. Everybody likes Florida, and I guess the question here is how motivated will Florida be? Because if they are, they'll win. If they're not, they could be in trouble.
That's what happens in bowl games. I mean, whether it's the Allstate Sugar Bowl or the fill-in-the-blank bowl, the team that is more motivated to play is the one that's going to win the game. You had a classic example Thursday night, you know, of a Baylor team that was probably not as talented as UCLA, certainly did not have as good a year as UCLA did, and went out and dominated UCLA on the field. Didn't shape up that way, but that's what happens in bowl games. So whoever is the more motivated team, whoever comes more ready to play, it's generally going to win the game, and it doesn't matter if you're talking about a team, you know, who is, you know, a couple of touchdowns worse on paper. It doesn't make that much of a difference.
You like Florida?
I like Florida still.
Yeah, So do I. All right, so a busy sports weekend should be fun. Lenny, is always a pleasure. Good to see you up and around.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back, and happy holidays to all. Happy New Year, and hey, let's see what transpires here in 2013. Not that far away.
Look forward to it. This has been our First NBC Weekend Preview, brought to you by First NBC Bank, with locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. Happy New Year to you, one and all. God bless. We'll talk to you in the new year.